Welcome back, history buffs and curious minds. Today, we embark on a thrilling journey through the pages of history, a tale that shook the world, the Korean War. Get ready to dive deep into the twists and turns of this gripping conflict that lasted from 1950 to 1953. We'll explore the complexities behind the war, the clash of ideologies, and the desire for reunification that tore a once united nation apart. Trust me, this is a story you won't want to miss. So buckle up and join us as we delve into the untold saga of the Korean War. The story begins in the aftermath of World War II, a time of rebuilding, political realignments, and new power dynamics. Korea, a land that was once united under Japanese colonial rule, found itself at a crossroads. With Japan's defeat, the Korean peninsula became a strategic pawn in the hands of the emerging superpowers, the United States and the Soviet Union. Picture this: Korea, a single country with a shared history and culture, was divided along the infamous 38th parallel. The United States assumed control of the South while the Soviet Union occupied the North. The division was meant to be temporary, with the ultimate goal of reunification. Little did the Korean people know that this division would spark a chain of events that would shape their destiny for decades to come. The Cold War, a time of geopolitical tensions, ideological conflicts, and proxy wars. As the United States and the Soviet Union eyed each other with suspicion, their differing visions for the post-World War II world collided on the Korean peninsula. The United States, committed to containing the spread of communism, saw the division as an opportunity to establish a pro-Western regime in the South. Meanwhile, the Soviet Union sought to expand its communist influence and supported the establishment of a communist regime in the North. Amid the political maneuvering and Cold War rivalries, both North and South Korea aspired to reunify their beloved homeland. Under the leadership of Kim Il-sung in the North, the dream was a unified communist Korea, while in the South, Syngman Rhee led the charge for reunification under a capitalist system. These differing visions created tension along the 38th parallel, leading to border skirmishes and incidents that foreshadowed the impending storm of war. The stage was set, the players were in position, and on June 25, 1950, the Korean War erupted with a bang. North Korea, confident in its military strength and expecting support from its communist allies, launched a surprise invasion of the South. Seoul, the capital of South Korea, fell swiftly, and the world watched in shock as a full-fledged war unfolded on the Korean peninsula. The invasion caught the world's attention, and the United Nations acted swiftly. The UN Security Council passed a resolution calling for an immediate ceasefire and the withdrawal of North Korean forces. A multinational coalition, primarily led by the United States, was assembled to support South Korea, marking the first time the UN deployed military forces in a conflict. This marked the beginning of a true global response to the Korean War. The early stages of the war witnessed dramatic shifts in territorial control. North Korean forces made significant gains, pushing South Korean and UN forces to the brink of defeat. However, a daring counteroffensive led by US General Douglas MacArthur turned the tide of the war. In September 1950, UN forces launched a brilliant amphibious landing at Incheon, behind enemy lines, and successfully recaptured Seoul. The counteroffensive pushed North Korean forces back across the 38th parallel, leading to the near collapse of the North Korean regime. Just when it seemed like victory was within reach, China stepped into the fray to support its communist neighbor. Chinese troops launched a massive counterattack, driving UN forces back to the 38th parallel. The conflict then settled into a prolonged stalemate, with both sides engaging in trench warfare and limited offensives. The war became brutal and costly, with high casualties and intense fighting. The war's toll was immense. Countless lives lost, cities devastated, and families torn apart. As the fighting raged on, the call for peace grew louder. In 1951, efforts to negotiate a ceasefire began. However, finding common ground proved to be a challenging task. The peace talks dragged on for 2 years, as both opposing sides were unwilling to back down from their positions. Finally, on July 27, 1953, an armistice agreement was reached. Commanders from the United Nations Command, the Chinese People's Volunteer Army, and the Korean People's Army signed the Korean Armistice Agreement. The agreement established a demilitarized zone, DMZ, along the 38th parallel, effectively restoring the pre-war division of Korea. The active fighting ceased, but a formal peace treaty was never signed, leaving the Korean peninsula technically still at war. The Korean War had far-reaching consequences that reverberated across the region and the world. Under Kim Il-sung's leadership, North Korea solidified its position as a communist state closely aligned with the Soviet Union, and later, China. The war further entrenched the regime's control over the country and its tightly controlled political system. In contrast, South Korea experienced a period of political instability following the war, going through several coups and military dictatorships before transitioning to democracy in the late 1980s. The United States and South Korea maintained a strong relationship, resulting in a lasting U.S. military presence in South Korea to provide security assistance and counter the threat from North Korea. The economic consequences of the Korean War were profound for both North and South Korea. The war devastated the infrastructure and economy of both countries, leading to widespread destruction and economic dislocation. However, in the long run, South Korea embarked on an extraordinary economic development known as the Miracle on the Han River. Economic reforms, export-oriented industrialization, and foreign investment propelled South Korea into becoming one of the world's major economies, known for its technological advancements and global companies. In contrast, North Korea's economy suffered significantly, focusing on heavy industry and military expenditure, leading to chronic economic difficulties, isolation, and dependency on foreign aid. The Korean War left its mark on the regional security dynamics and global politics. It solidified the division between communist and non-communist states in East Asia. The United States maintained a strong military presence in South Korea as a deterrent against further aggression from North Korea, which heightened tensions in the region. Additionally, the war strained relations between the United States and China, as both countries were drawn into direct confrontation on the Korean peninsula. On the global stage, the Korean War served as an early test for the United Nations and its ability to respond to international crises. The UN's involvement in the conflict showcased the potential for a larger-scale war and highlighted the need for effective peacekeeping and conflict resolution mechanisms. As the dust settled, the Korean peninsula remained divided, and the desire for reunification persisted. Efforts for dialogue and reconciliation between North and South Korea have continued to this day, with moments of tension and cooperation. The dream of a unified Korea remains an aspiration shared by many, as families separated by the war still long for a day when they can be reunited. The Korean Demilitarized Zone, DMZ, established by the Armistice Agreement, stands as a poignant symbol of the division that persists. This heavily fortified buffer zone stretches along the 38th parallel, separating North and South Korea, and serves as a reminder of the ongoing tensions between the two countries. Despite the challenges, peace talks have continued throughout the years. Various efforts have been made to engage North Korea in dialogue, seeking a peaceful resolution and the potential for reunification. However, the path to peace remains complex, with issues of nuclear weapons, human rights, and geopolitical tensions shaping the discussions. Nevertheless, glimmers of hope continue to emerge. Inter-Korean summits, cultural exchanges, and humanitarian initiatives have demonstrated moments of cooperation and a shared vision for a more peaceful future. While progress may be slow and often met with setbacks, the desire for a united Korea endures. As we reflect on the Korean War, it reminds us of the profound consequences of armed conflicts. It underscores the importance of diplomacy, cooperation, and finding common ground to prevent future wars and build a more harmonious world. The human cost of war is immeasurable. Families torn apart, lives lost, and communities shattered. The Korean War claimed the lives of millions, leaving behind deep scars that endure through generations. And there you have it, the captivating tale of the Korean War, an epic saga of division, conflict, and the enduring hope for reunification. As we close this chapter of history, let's remember that the past has much to teach us about our present and our future. If you enjoyed this journey through history, be sure to give this video a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more engaging stories from the annals of time. See you in the next video.